Okay, so my task today is pretty simple. You see all the ivy in these trees? Well, I need to kill it. So a few weeks back, Hurricane Zeta blew through East Tennessee, caused quite a bit of damage in these parts. On our own property, we were fairly lucky in that only a few trees on our back pasture fell down, but otherwise we were in good shape. Needless to say, there's these 3 trees out in the front of our house that don't look like they're the healthiest trees out there. And we were concerned because if one of those things fall on our house, it's curtains for our house. So we brought an arborist out, somebody whose job it is to gauge the health of trees, and had him take a look at these trees to see if anything needed to be done for them. Well, the first thing he did is he told us what types of trees they actually are. We had no idea. We knew one was an oak, but we didn't know what the other 2 were. So there's 3 trees in front. There's a hackberry, there's an elm, and then there's that big oak. There's also another one off to the side of our driveway that was a little bit concerning to him, also an oak. As you can see, there's a lot of ivy on these trees, and well, it's choking them off. It's sucking the nutrients out of them, and it's making them a lot heavier. A single branch might weigh 100 pounds, but with that ivy on it, it might weigh 400 pounds or even more. So he said the very first thing we need to do, even before we get any of them cut down, is to kill the ivy. And let me tell you, that ivy is some gnarly stuff. It is not easy to get rid of. Yesterday, I came out here with a little pair of pliers to see if I can just kind of cut through the vines. No way, Jose. There's a lot more that needs to be done. Some of these vines are as thick as my wrist. They'll require a pretty serious job to get them down. So that's what I'm gonna try to do today. Cut a ring in the ivy around each tree so that the bark is exposed and the ivy is stopped from crawling up the tree. As you can see, these little snippers aren't doing anything. They're cutting some of the fresh, new green vines, but they're not even getting close to the big, thick, heavy vines that lie behind them. Now the goal here isn't to remove all of the ivy, it's simply to kill it. Kill the stuff that's already on the tree and stop the stuff that's down here from growing further. You can already see the bark that's just been hiding out underneath all of these ivies and how much more breathing room it has now that they're gone. You can also see how thick this ivy is too. It's just formed this layer, this really thick layer blanketing, sheathing the entire outside of the tree. I'm glad I'm catching this now as winter is setting in. My hope is that all of these ivies will just die away here within a few weeks. This is really thick stuff, and it's gonna be a long day, especially considering that I've got 3 trees to do. Okay, so one tree is done. I've successfully interrupted this line of ivy, these ivy vines, with this ring around the tree. You can see the bark here where I've cut through it. So at this point, all I need to do is figure out a way to actually kill the vines, especially these ones on bottom, so that they won't grow right back up and rehook into these cut off vines. Before I do that though, as I was walking around out here, I stepped into something that caused me a little bit of concern. There's a few mud spots here that are very loose and wet, and they're covered with flies, and I'm wondering if there's some sort of leak. Now, our septic field doesn't go out here, so it's not our septic system that's causing this. And as far as I know, there's no water pipes that come out through this field either. So what's down here causing this little mud puddle and cave-in spot is a complete mystery to me. So I think what I'm going to do is dig down and see what's going on. Well, I guess I was wrong about the pipe. It looks like there is a pipe. And it looks like it's running from my house. Probably that white thing right there. It's not septic though. What it is, I am unsure of. And it looks like it hooks into this little French drain hose here. And that might be where the leaking problem is. I need to figure out what this line is, what this PVC pipe is, and where it's coming from, because it's leaking out here, causing a little puddle. Yeah, that's gross. There's just standing water coming from the end of this pipe. It's cut off. I wonder if I just need to hook it back in, because it was laying on top of this thing. Is there a second septic system that we didn't know about, and this is its drain field? I need to figure out where this pipe is coming from. So I'm gonna go check over here to this little crawl space, this secondary crawl space under the addition, and see what I can see. Well, I'll be darned.